On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel is changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Dave Scott, lost in space, the other side of midnight.
Danger, Baldur Sterling, danger.
Well, tomorrow should be a big drop. Is that your understanding, Dave Scott? Spaced Out Radio, Canadian. Is this your understanding? Tomorrow there's going to be more videos, more UFO files.
Now, are we talking tomorrow is in Friday morning or tomorrow is in Saturday morning? Because you're one of them East Coasters.
Yeah, tomorrow is in Friday.
We're hoping. I've been perusing X where a lot of this information comes out, and it hasn't said. In fact, what I have heard is that it might come out Saturday. But, I mean, the last drop that they did, we knew it was coming out, but it seemed to come out very quietly. Very, very quietly. And this time there doesn't seem the buzz about it as it was before. But that's okay. We'll still take it. Whenever it comes out, we'll be ready. I've already pre-stretched. I've already got my typing fingers and my vocal cords ready for that report to come out.
All right. Now, Dave Scott, give us a summary of what has come out in the last two drops. Because, like you say, they're sort of secretive and hard to follow. Give us the significant revelations of the last two U.S. government drops on UFOs and UAPs.
Well, I think the big thing is we're seeing a separation between the UFO, unidentified flying object, which we know is believing a space alien, and UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomena, which if you go strictly by the videos that have been released, those videos really do look more like man-made objects than they do some sort of extraterrestrial craft that has entered our atmosphere. I highlight the one video specifically, which is it's allegedly taken from an F-16 from the United States Air Force that was shooting down the balloon. Could have been a weather balloon, could have been a Chinese balloon back over Lake Huron, if you remember that story from 2023. So that really makes me believe that they are really starting to slowly define the difference between the two. NASA is, to me, the big one. A lot of people go, hey, I like the history of the stories that have come out from Washington State to the Pentagon and so on and so forth. But to me, the big one is NASA, because for years, NASA has really gone hard on saying we've got nothing. In fact, they conducted this almost like kangaroo court type study a couple of years ago that they paid $100,000 for in taxpayer money, basically saying, hey, we're inviting a bunch of our friends over to go through our files to see if we found any UFOs. Well, a couple of months later, all those friends came back after collecting their paychecks and said, no, we didn't find anything. NASA doesn't have anything to do with UFOs. And yet with the UFO file drops, we find that they've been lying to us. And they haven't said sorry yet. As an American taxpayer, if I was one, I would be pretty upset about that. So now we just wait. The words aliens really hasn't been used. The words just, we are not alone in the universe, whatever it may be, that hasn't been used just yet. We think that they are holding off on any type of alien subject because they don't want to go down that path, at least this new into the process of releasing the files.
In other information, did you hear about Graham Hancock?
No, fill me in.
All right, so Graham Hancock is seriously ill. He's going to have cardiac surgery today, tomorrow. He's not well. He has a serious cardiac situation. But the good news about Western medicine is we're good at cardiac. And the odds are excellent that he'll get better. But it's a serious situation, and I thought you should know, because there is a brave guy. This is a man who every single revelation he's made, every single speculation that he has pursued has never been embraced by anybody, quote, quote, official. He has to go out there on his own, be brave, break new ground, present new research, new theories, without anybody from Harvard saying, he's probably right.
And there are a lot of researchers in our field like that. One that comes to mind as well is the late Stanton Friedman. He was on every UFO documentary.
Everyone.
Yeah. And, I literally froze. Walter, I never freeze on an interview. Prior to Stanton Friedman, the only person that I ever froze in front of was Wayne Gretzky on an interview.
Well, you're Canadian. What could you do?
Absolutely. Like, this is God standing right in front of me.
Right.
And I started off we were pre-recording an interview because he didn't want to be up. He lived in New Brunswick, and I'm in British Columbia, and that's about a 4-hour time difference. And he really didn't want to do my interview at 1 o'clock his time in the morning. So he's like, "Can we pre-interview?" I said, "Well, it's Stan Friedman. You got to do the pre-record." So I go to do the pre-record with Stan Friedman, and I literally mess up every sentence. At about 3 minutes in, I said, "Stanton, I'm really nervous." And I said, "Do you mind if we just restart here in a second?" He's like, "Sure." And I said, "I just got to tell you something." I said, "You're Stanton effing Friedman. Stanton effing Friedman on my radio show. I cannot believe this." And he starts laughing. And in his gruff voice, he says, "Well, Dave, just like you, I put my pants on one leg at a time. So let's just have some fun here." And the interview went fantastic after that.
A natural wit he was, a natural wit as well. Now, one of the things that you and I discussed last time is that you've had multiple abduction experiences.
Yes.
You personally, and to the degree to which you're comfortable, I know that the Midnight Misfits and I would like to hear another abduction story.
I can do that. Just for you and the Misfits. Nobody else. Not even my own spaced out radio audience, which is listening to you right now. They have to tune out. But the rest of them can listen in. I'm being funny there. My last abduction that I actually recall happened in February of 2024. And this one actually included my father. Now, if you listened last night, you would know that I was talking about a dream state where you get this feeling that you're getting this gravitational pull and sucked into whatever they are taking you with, because that's when they seem to get you, is when you are already at night sleeping in an REM state, and they really want you to be relaxed when they take you for some reason. And I remember I was in this dream, and my cousin was there, my best friend growing up was there, my dad was there, and I was there. We were in this dark alleyway looking for something. I don't know what. I don't even know why we were there. And I remember thinking in that dream, geez, we got to get going here. It's getting dark. And I had my cell phone on this stairwell. Now, what's really weird about that cell phone is that it was one of those 1995 Nokia indestructible phones, okay, that everybody had, those handheld ones. And I've never owned that type of phone. But for some reason in this dream, I had one. And when that gravitational pull came, I went, oh, no, here they come to get me. And I dropped the phone, and it went bang in my dream. Next thing I know, I had gone to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning, started this dream. I wake up in my bed, and my back is towards my window. And I know, Walter, that if I roll over, there's going to be two alien grays standing right behind me. And I am doing everything in my head. Like, I am wide awake, like I'm talking to you guys right now. And I said, don't roll over. They're right there. Do not roll over. They are right there. And I started getting mad at myself because I literally said, hold on a second. This is what I do for a living. This is what I report on. I'm a journalist, damn it. I'm a radio host. Roll over and look at them. So I squeamishly start to roll over from my right to my left, and all of a sudden I see this big flash of white light in my bedroom and outside my window, and I know they are gone. I went, oh, my God, I just got taken. So I'm waking up. I have to go to the bathroom, and I get up. I put my feet on the floor, and instantaneously I start shivering and shaking. You know when you're so cold, your teeth are chattering? This is what I'm going through. I walk to the bathroom. I go do my thing, and I'm even more cold now. So I actually decide to hop in the shower. I hop in the shower. I get warm, go back to bed. It's 2:09 a.m. I've only been asleep for an hour and 9 minutes when this happened. I wake up the next morning at about 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden, there's a spot on my chest around just above my heart, about the size of a silver dollar, that is freezing cold on my chest. And prior to this happening, I had been having a little bit of chest pain. Okay, to the point where I thought maybe I should go to a doctor and get this checked out because it was starting to scare me. But right in that spot, I had this cold spot. And it was like I felt that they had healed me or whatever was wrong in that area, because I felt great when I woke up that morning. And it was actually quite emotional, and it actually made me tear up. I don't know why, but it made me tear up. So I get ready for my daytime job. I am all of a sudden curious. My dad was there. I start playing the recall in my head. So I call up my dad, who lives 4 hours away from me. I said, Dad, how did you sleep last night? And he goes, well, I woke up a couple of times, but, you know, I got up at about 7 this morning, and I'm feeling pretty good. I said, well, you got up at 7:15 or 7 o'clock in the morning. I said, what time did you wake up in the middle of the night? He goes, it was just after 2 o'clock, around 2:05. I went, oh, my God, here we go. I said, Dad, what woke you up? And he goes, I heard a big bang in the other room, like something had fallen and hit the wood floor. But I couldn't find anything on the ground. Now, if you remember, in my dream, I had dropped the cell phone, and it made a big bang. I went, oh, my. I said, Dad, how do you feel this morning? Or I said, what happened? Pardon me. I said, what happened after you woke up? He goes, son, I was really, really cold. I was shivering. So I went and I grabbed another blanket from the closet and then tried to warm up so I could get back to sleep. I went, oh, my God, okay. And I'm starting to laugh here because my dad doesn't believe in any of this stuff that I do. And I said, Dad, how are you feeling this morning? Because my dad suffers from onset of COPD. And he goes, to be honest, son, I woke up this morning and my lungs feel great. He goes, I literally am not hacking and wheezing this morning. And it's the first time in probably 2 years that had happened. And I think my dad and I were taken that night. And for some reason, we were healed.
And how do you think they healed you?
I have no idea, Walter. The only evidence that I had that I cannot prove to the public was that silver dollar coin size, a cold spot on my chest.
And how long do you think the abduction lasted?
It had to be quick, because I know I went to bed. I got off my radio show, and I got into bed about 12:45 in the morning, fell asleep probably around 1 o'clock. And when I woke up, when all of this happened, it was 2:09 a.m. And so was it an hour? Was it half an hour? Was it 10 minutes? I don't know. But I do know it happened relatively quickly after I fell asleep.
It's a great story. We're going to hear more abduction stories from Dave Scott in the next few days. Tomorrow, remember, tomorrow during the day, during Friday, supposedly, maybe Saturday, a new UFO video drop, UFO files, more information from the federal government. Dave Scott, how do we find you on social media?
You can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. We're on every major podcast network, including Spotify, and on iTunes as well. Any social media platform, Spaced Out Radio, we're right there for you.
How do you feel about the potential UFO drop tomorrow? 800-848-9222 with Walter Sterling. The Other Side of Midnight on the Red Apple Audio Networks.
Thanks for listening to The Other Side of Midnight with Walter Sterling. You can listen to The Other Side of Midnight Monday through Friday from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?